என்ன கவிதா, +2 ரிசல்ட் வந்துருச்சு. அடுத்து என்ன செய்ய போற?
தர்மபுரி டொன்போஸ்கோ காலேஜ்ல சேரலாம்னு நினைக்கிறேன்.
எத்தனையோ காலேஜ் இருந்தோம், ஏன் டொன்போஸ்கோ காலேஜ்ல சேரணும்னு ஆசைப்படுற?
டொன்போஸ்கோ காலேஜ் அமைதியான அட்டகாசமான சூழல்ல அமைஞ்சிருக்கு. டொன்போஸ்கோ காலேஜ்ல இளங்கலை, முதுகலை, ஆய்வு படிப்பு, பிஎட் படிப்புன்னு எல்லாமே இருக்கு. அது மட்டுமா, இன்னும் நிறைய வசதிகள் காலேஜ்ல இருக்கே.
அப்படியா?
டொன்போஸ்கோ காலேஜ்ல சான்றிதழ் பட்டப்படிப்போட விளையாட்டு துறையில தனி பயிற்சி, பேண்ட் வாத்திய பயிற்சின்னு பல இருக்கு. டொன்போஸ்கோ காலேஜ்ல திறமை மிக்க ஆசிரியர்கள் தான் பயிற்சி கொடுக்கறாங்க. நம்ம டொன்போஸ்கோ காலேஜ்லயே முகாம் நடத்தி வேலை வாய்ப்பையும் ஏற்படுத்தி தராங்க. அது மட்டுமா, டொன்போஸ்கோ காலேஜ் சலேசிய தந்தையர்களால நடத்தப்படுற பன்னாட்டு தொண்டு நிறுவனம். 12ஆம் வகுப்புல 225க்கு குறைவாகவும் 450க்கு அதிகமாகவும் மார்க் வாங்கினவங்களுக்கு முன்னுரிமையும் ஸ்காலர்ஷிப்பும் தராங்க.
நீ சொல்றத பார்த்தா என் எதிர்காலம் சிறப்பா அமையணும்னா நானும் டொன்போஸ்கோ காலேஜ்ல தான் சேரணுங்கிற.
ஆமாமா, இதெல்லாம் இல்லாம மதிய உணவு திட்டம், பேருந்து வசதி, மருத்துவ வசதி, கவுன்சிலிங் வசதி, கலைத்திறன் வெளிப்பாட்டு பயிற்சின்னு டொன்போஸ்கோ காலேஜ்ல நிறைய இருக்கு. டொன்போஸ்கோ காலேஜ்ல படிச்ச மாணவர்கள் பல பேர் இப்ப வாழ்க்கையில உயர்ந்த நிலையில சிறந்த முறையில இருக்காங்க. இதுல இன்னொரு சிறப்பு என்னன்னு தெரியுமா? டொன்போஸ்கோ பிஎட் காலேஜ் ஒவ்வொரு வருடமும் மாநில அளவுல முதலிடமும் தங்க பதக்கமும் வாங்குறாங்க.
அப்படியா? சரி சரி, முகவரியை சொல்ல.
டொன்போஸ்கோ கல்லூரி, அதியமான் புறவழி சாலை, சோகத்தூர், தர்மபுரி. 9443604446 9443604447. BEd 9385201369.
Faculty members of DBC and various other colleges, dear students, to this webinar. I am J. Leelavati, Assistant Professor and Head Department of English, Don Bosco College, Dharmapuri. The Department of English is privileged to organize this national webinar on diasporic studies and overview. Let me introduce our resource person today, Dr. C. Govindaraj, Associate Professor and Head Department of English, Periyar University PG Extension Center, Dharmapuri, who has consented to quench our literary appetite with this relishing speech. First, I would like to thank him for accepting our invitation in spite of his busy schedule. He has got 16 years of teaching experience and 8 years of research experience, and his area of specialization is American and African American literature. He has published a number of articles in national and international journals. He is a research guide, external examiner, doctoral committee member, and adjudicator for research thesis for different various other universities. Also, he has held various posts in serving the nation through being the program officer for RRC, YRC, and NSS. Also received Best Program Officer awards number of times. He is a life member in LTI, Rock Pebbles, AMLE, and CLAI. Also, he is a member of Board of Studies for various universities and autonomous colleges. I welcome everybody once again and hand over the session to the resource person. Thank you.
Most respected authorities of Don Bosco College of Arts and Science, Dharmapuri, and respected head of the Department of English, Professor Leelavati, and there are colleagues, most renowned and learned participants from various parts of the country. Good afternoon to one and all who are gathered here for this wonderful national level webinar on diasporic literature and overview. Thank you, ma'am, for the intro given and the nice words you spoken about me. And I'm here to discuss something about diasporic literature. Hope you all are very familiar with this topic, and just want to give some more to be added the topic and as well as in this area. So this dear participant, as I started earlier, it's an overview. It's an overview about diasporic literature. Diasporic writing and our studies or literature. An overview. I have designed my presentation as following. I would like to give you a definition of diaspora and what are the kinds of diasporas are there
Sir, excuse me, sir. Your voice is
And the
echoing.
diaspora and the view of others. How,
Ma'am,
ma'am?
yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Sir, your voice is echoing, sir. We can't
Just a
hear.
minute. I'll.
Okay, sir.
Please take it.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, I'm audible. I'm audible now. It's okay now.
Yes, sir. It is okay now.
Is it clear?
Yes, sir. It's clear. You can start.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry for the inconvenience caused by me, dear participants and the host. So that my plan for the presentation is diaspora and the views of others. How other writers or other critics looked at diaspora in their perspective, and futures and themes of diasporic culture and diasporic literature. The writers, those who are considered, those whom we consider as a diasporic writer, what kind of themes they have for their writing, and this is going to be dealt in. And diasporic movement. So the diasporic literature or the term diaspora, what it has made to emerge out with the many movements. So it is going to be given an overview. And following that, Indian diaspora, and at last, Indian diasporic writers and works, a glimpse, whom we consider as Indian diasporic writers, and what are their works. Out of their works, out of many works, a few is going to be led at your disposal. Now let us know the origin of the word, etymological origin of the word diaspora. Every one of us know that the word diaspora is derived from Greek term, which means the word diasporian, meaning to disperse. Actually, the word diaspora or the Greek term diasporian, disperse of seeds, and the word diasporian has been given splitted into two, and dia, which means across, and sporian, to sow or scatter seeds. So this term made use early days for the agricultural purpose, and later on this particular term made into use by Brazil and Manner, who are the authors of diasporic literature. The word appears perverted medieval rabbinical writings on the Jewish diaspora. Rabbinical writings, nothing but the writings which wrote on Jewish people. So that's why it's called as a rabbinical writing on the Jewish diaspora, which means to describe the plight of Jews living outside Palestine. The people, the Jewish people who are dispersed from Israel, and they were scattered everywhere all around the world, and the writings written on them or written about them were considered as a rabbinical writing. It dealt a lot about diaspora. Then the word diaspora has left from its previously confined the use. Actually, as I told you earlier, the dispersion of Jews beyond Israel, Greeks, and the dispersion of Greeks, dispersion of Armenian and African, who are more away from their natal homeland, their birth homeland, in order to establish their, maybe there may be a lot of reasons, in order to establish their for the purpose of survival, or to cover the cases of many other ethnic groups. It includes the nationalities, religions, and so on. And the term diaspora also defines the dispersion or spread of any people from their original homeland. Actually, in the earlier days, it was this particular word diaspora defined only the dispersion of Jews beyond the Israel, and also the dispersion of Greek, Armenian. But later on, this particular term defined or made use in order to mention any dispersion of or the spread of any people from their homeland, original homeland, and settled somewhere else. And following that, we have the word diaspora is dealt in or looked into two different aspects. One in a negative aspect, and another one is positive aspect. When we look at it, look at this in a negative aspect, we can say that it's exilic or nostalgic. At the same time, in the word Black Atlantic, hello ma'am, am I audible? Hello? Hello ma'am? Leela ma'am? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Am I audible ma'am?
Yes, sir. It is clear. You can continue.
Okay, okay, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So as I told you earlier, and when we look at this word into two different aspects, one is a negative and a positive aspect. In the positive aspect, it talks about the fertility of dispersion. I mean, the dissemination of people or the scattering of seeds. So this is a positive aspect when we look at this word, the word diaspora. And we have an example from the Black Atlantic. Then Brazil Manor book called they have come out with their work, and in which we can find out displaced communities of people who have been dislocated from their native homeland through the movement of migration, immigration, or exile. See, we have a little bit connectivity with the terms or with the word migration, immigration, or exile with the diaspora. On all these terms happens the displacement of people, displacement of communities of people, or here they are dislocated. They leave their homeland, they leave their native homeland and settle in some other place of the world. So this could be, this happens in all these terms, in all these movements, migration, immigration, exile. But there are difference between among diaspora, immigration, migration, and exile. And to be simple, on the outset, the word diaspora is called as the displacement of a community or a culture into another geographical or cultural region.
You co-host only. Host.
Okay, ma'am, shall I?
Yeah. Continue, sir, please.
So in the words of Brazil, who are the editor of a book called Theorizing the Diaspora, a reader, in which they have mentioned about and they have talked about displaced communities of people who have been dislocated from their native homeland through the movement. So these are all the movement that I mentioned earlier: migration, immigration, or exile, and it has some kind of connectivity with the term diaspora. So in all these three terms or the movement, anyhow, the displacement or relocation of the people happened. They are supposed to leave their homeland and settle in some other land in any one of the parts of the country in the world. Maybe, and a professor called Kevin Kenny, who is the author of a short introduction of Diaspora, a very short introduction. He is the author of a book called Diaspora, a very short introduction. He talks about, and he mentioned the term, the present existence of the term diaspora. He says that diaspora is a widespread usage. It had we have this term from the early days, 250 BC, when Jews and the scholars who trying to translate the Hebrew version of the Bible into Greek, the Alexandrian, they settled, they were in a place called Alexandria. They translated the Hebrew Bible version into Greek around 250 BC. And later on, the particular translation that they did, the scholars did, called a Septuagint. This particular term, this is a name and the translation they did. The term diaspora origined from, and we have two terms, diasporing, which is in parts of speech it's a verb, and diaspora it's a noun, describe a condition of spiritual anguish accompanying the dispersal of Jews by an anguished God. So this is the term, or this is the usage made in early days as far as the term diaspora is concerned. And we have another reference in the New Shorter Oxford English Dictionary. He talks about, he gives that it supplements the earlier or the primary definition for the term, for the term diaspora, which is mentioned in the Deuteronomy chapter 28 verses 25, verse 25, which means the dispersion of Jews among the Gentile nations, all those Jews who live outside the biblical land of Israel. Actually, the dispersion of Jews are from Israel, and they spread all over the world, and they've settled in many parts of the nation, in many parts of the world, and they settle in a Gentile nation. Gentile nation is nothing but where the nation which don't belong to Jewish. So Gentile nation, all those Jews who lived outside the biblical land of Israel. And so this is the earlier term or earlier reference for the term diaspora. And when we move on, or when we come to the modern era, the 20th century, it is accepted globally. I mean, the people who scattered globally, they scattered everywhere in groups, began to use diaspora. Ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Is it okay, ma'am? I think.
Yes, sir. It is okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, you can continue.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So, when we move on to the modern era, in the 20th century, many other people from various parts of our own country or various parts of the country, I mean, parts of the world, they leave their homeland and settle themselves in some other parts of the country, in some other parts of the world. And though it happens in the modern era, the first foremost people who dispersed are called Armenians and people of African descent. And in the 25th century, which we had earlier in the reference from Bible, and it's in the ancient days, 250 BC. And when we move on to the modern era in the 20th century, the dispersion happened first among the Armenians and the people of African descent who left their homeland and settled in some other parts of the world. Now let us move on to the kinds of diaspora. It's an umbrella term under which there are a lot of diaspora or diaspora.
Screen sharing.
Hello, ma'am.
You are sharing the screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
It is not visible here, sir.
I'll check, ma'am. All right. So as far as the kinds of diaspora is concerned, as I told earlier, the term diaspora is an umbrella term, under which we have a lot more to be categorized, and we have many segments. People who leave their homeland and settle in some other parts of the world may have a lot of reasons. So based on their reasons, or based on their requirement, based on their desire, the term diaspora can be categorized. So this is what a few at your disposal: victim diaspora, labor diasporas, trade diasporas, imperial diasporas, indigenous diaspora, subaltern diaspora, and so on, Dalit, minority diaspora, cultural diaspora, religious diaspora, and so on. So as I told you, and based on the reason or the requirement or the purpose of the people who leave their homeland, the diasporic term may be categorized. So, and in the diaspora, intra-diaspora, cross diaspora, multi-diaspora, diaspora of violence and terror, and that last diaspora of capitalism and imperialism. So this is how the kinds of diaspora may be categorized based on their requirements. Now, as I show you in the beginning of my presentation, the overview of the presentation moves on to writers or other philologists or other critics and other people with multi-dimensional aspects look at diaspora. The perspective may differ from person to person. Ma'am? Leelavati ma'am, I'm sorry for disturbing you again.
Yes, sir, I will announce now to the participants. Dear participants, please don't share any screen or do any annotations. Please don't disturb the seminar. Thank you, sir.
No issue, ma'am. Just kindly find out the participants, remove from the participants list, ma'am. It can be done.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Amappa, yara, someone is drawing here. The annotations option.
Shall I, ma'am?
Please, sir, please continue.
Yeah, thank you. So how diaspora is looked at by critics and writers belong to various parts of the world. Is my screen visible, ma'am? No.
Yes, sir, now it is visible.
And there is a quotation by migration is a one-way trip. There is no way to go back.
Disable the annotation.
According to Hall in the year
Disable the annotation
1988.
options. More
And he has come out with a quotation on diaspora. Migration is a one-way trip. There is no home to back. Once we in the early days, or let it be as a pre-independent, the people who left their homeland and settled in some other land. Once they left the homeland and settled in some other land or some other part of the world, they cannot come back. They have to be there until their last breath, and until their death. Migration is one-way trip. There is no home.
Hello?
But Braw, another writer, he says that the concept of diaspora is the discourse of home and this in creative tension, inscribing a homing desire while simultaneously, ma'am, you are, hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kindly unmute, ma'am, your voice disturbs me, I'm sorry.
Okay, okay.
Thank you. And Sandhya Subha, she says that, and yet the real and imagined worlds of all peoples, especially migrant people, have proved far too complex and contradictory to be easily serviced by any attempt to respond in the singular to such compelling questions. Which means then she says that if people left their homeland and settled in a foreign land, in the host land, it is quite difficult to come back, and as well as they cannot have any touch with or any contact with the people of homeland. And William Safran, following that we have William Safran. He says that according to William Safran, diaspora as referring to a community which was historically dispersed and share a common desire to return to homeland. See, according to Safran, he says that the dispersal may happen either might have happened historically, and there may be a desire to in the pre-independent or pre-colonial period. During the colonial period, the dispersal happened because of the compulsion, right? They left their homeland and settled in the foreign land. And he says that this diaspora as a community which was historically. I'm sorry for the inconvenience caused by me or the technical fault. Kindly bear with me. And now, so let me have the definitions, various definitions given by writers on diaspora. Now, William Connor says diaspora is a segment of people living outside the homeland. But he entirely contrasts with the following definition by Stephen Werthowek. He says that diaspora is any population which is considered deterritorialized or transnational, whereas William is the people leaving their homeland. They know to be transnational. They know it to leave their nation, even if they leave the place. For example, in the present scenario during the pandemic period, people who worked as laborers in Tamil Nadu and Kerala and some other parts of the country, now they leave their working place and in order to settle and go and relocate or reroute in their homeland. So this is also to be considered as a diaspora. So that is what William Connor says. Whereas Stephen Wertowek says diaspora is any population which is considered de-territorialist or transnational. Once
Sir, you can continue now, sir. Thank you.
yes, thank you. Yeah, so following the definitions by William Connor, Stephen Wertowek, and we have another definition by Bauman, which says that the idea of diaspora has been celebrated as expressing notions of identity, and the same thing. I mean, it's a continuation with the previous definitions by Stephen Wertowek and William Connor, and it supplements. Bauman supplements for the above statement and definitions, and following that now. What is the use of diasporic writing? Okay, we come across what is in diaspora, or the origin of the term diaspora, which means the etymological term for diaspora, and definitions by various writers on diaspora. Now, what is the use of diasporic writing? Why it is required? See, it strengthens the bonds between various countries. For example, if a group of people leave India, a group of people leave India who are having India as their homeland and settle in some other country, any parts of the any one of the European countries or some other countries, and they establish a bond between their homeland and the host land. So they begin to relate through historical, cultural, social, and traditional and economic ties. Through the establishment of leaving the homeland and settling in the host land, they create a kind of bond between the host land and the homeland, through which they share the diasporic people share their historical, cultural, and social values and traditional values also with the people of the host land. And the diasporic writing, okay, the diasporic people, the diasporic writing, it creates goodwill, cordial relationship, and spreading values, virtues, and universal peace. For example, people, I mean, when foreigners visit India, when foreign the Arab people visit India, they love to know what are the traditional values or what are the traditional virtues are there in India, and they learn it, and if time permits and if they wish, they follow the same when they return to their own land. So this kind of name and fame is brought and created by this kind of settlers. We call it as the diasporic people. And diasporic writings, it brings about a strategic partnership based on prosperity, security, and commitment to freedom and peace. So this is on in continuation with the same. What kind of benefit the diasporic through the diasporic writing we could have? So there is a search for continuity and ancestral impulse and an effort to look for their roots. Diasporic writing has its roots in the sense of loss and alienation. Why and the purpose? The reason and the root cause for the writing of diasporic, diasporic writings or the diasporic works, it had its roots from the alienation concept or the sense of loss. So it has given a cause, it has given a reason for their writing. And so one has to live in the reminiscence, which means the people who leave their homeland and settle in a host land, they're supposed to live with the reminiscence of a collective memory. During their childhood or during their adulthood, they would have lived in their street, walked in their street, they would have shared their feelings, and they would have played with the people on the, street met or the relatives. They had a lot of enjoyment, a lot of cherishment they would have had when they are in the homeland. So once they leave the homeland and settle in the host land, this collective memory would representing or would be in their mind, and it's a kind of called a nostalgia. Yeah. So memory of representing a symbolic relationship between the past and the present. Now, the diasporic writing leads to cross-cultural encounters which pave way for rejection, confusion, and tensions too. Now, in the views of diasporic writers, what is India and where is India? How India is looked at? According to Albert Einstein, he says that we owe a lot to Indians who taught us how to count, without which no worthwhile scientific discovery could have been made. And Toru says, in the morning, I bathed in intellect in the stupendous and cosmogonal philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita. So this is how, and these are all a few at your disposal about, the reviews of the people who are non-Indians, right? Who are no need to be NRI, who are the foreigners, how they look at India, what impressed them, what influenced them from India. Now, why are they writing? Why are the diasporic writers? What made them to write? So why are they writing? The migrants are far off from their homes. The people who leave their homeland and settle in the homeland, they are far off from their homes. The memories of their motherland, just before I told, so the memories of their homeland would be in their mind forever, and the memories make them to anguish, leaving behind everything. So once they can only have, they can carry along with them only the memories, what they had, what they celebrated, what they cherished, what they enjoyed in their homeland. That's what only can be carried along with them to the host land. So the anguish of leaving behind everything familiar, which agonizes their minds. So it made the mind of the diasporic people to get agonizes and to make them long to return to their homeland. And now, hope no definition is required for the term loneliness. It's a feeling of detached, disconnected, and cut off from other people, so that it feels difficult or even often feel empty or depressed inside. So you have your own friends, or we have some relatives in the foreign country who are with us, who were with us for some time. So when they leave they may be working in any one of the European countries. They may be there for years together. They may come back to homeland and be with us for a month of period or a couple of months. When the day comes, they're supposed to leave, and they can carry only the feelings, only the emotions, only the entertainment, and it created a kind of a feeling of emptiness, feeling of depressed. So this is what they too will carry when they go back to their homeland by leaving everything in the homeland and feeling of isolation. And in loneliness, there is a psychological state, an immigrant experience, and a strong sense of emptiness. Feel a sense of loneliness. Whatever they possess in the homeland, the feeling of whatever they had in the homeland, the feeling of loneliness, the sense of emptiness, make them to feel they have nothing. And out of this diasporic writing or the diaspora, what are all the movements have emerged out? First for identity, search for identity, uprooting and rerouting, insider and outsider syndrome, multicultural milieu, nagging sense of guilt. So this is how these are all the movements that have emerged. If you are at your disposal, sense of loneliness, just now we had experience of ethnic discrimination, fight for identity, confusion, suffering, multiculturalism, feminism. Yes, obviously, multiculturalism is a key for all the diaspora, because they had the people who leave their homeland or settle in a host land. They had their own culture, and when they mingle with the people of host land, there some kind of culture may exist. So when they go for clubbing both the culture, they're supposed to come out with a new one, or people may be known as a multiculturalist, feminism, fragmentation, racial discrimination, cultural and gender conflict. So this is how a lot of movements emerged. And finally, that disintegrations of family. They had a communicator, maybe. Yes, they would not have communication with the family in the sense of physical communication, right? So the disintegration of family unit that leads to anguish, traumas, and dilemma. And this kind of disintegration, the feeling of loneliness, feeling of emptiness, make them to get frustrated, and thus frustration leads them and resulted in drug addiction, homosexual relationship, and lesbianism. And in continuation with the above, the diasporic movement, we have two theories: subjugation of women, cultural confrontation, dislocation, location, relocation, cultural assimilation, and so on. So this is how, and these are all the above what's said right now, or the movement that emerged from diasporic writings of the diaspora of the diasporic people. Now, history of Indian diaspora. As far as the Indian diaspora is concerned, Vijay Mishra has come out with the new terms. I mean, yes, he segregated, he segmented the Indian diaspora into two dimensions, into two aspects. And before that, the term Indian diaspora indicates to all persons of Indian descent who is living outside India. They preserve some major Indian ethno-cultural characteristics as possible. This is Indian diaspora of around 25 million across the world. So there is the Indian, actually as far as Indian diaspora is concerned, it began the early 19th century and continued until the end of British Raj. And we cannot say that it is ended up. Still it continues. Indian diaspora, still it continues. Okay. And there is a rough survey about Indian diaspora. The richest Indian diaspora is in the US. 1/3 of, 1% of the entire total, entire population of USA is Indian, right? So such a Indian diaspora could be found in USA. And next to, India stands first out of many countries, out of many diasporians, like this Mexico has the second largest diaspora population in the US, and third Russia and China. And there are, we have some writers who have penned about diaspora: Edward Said, Homi Bhabha, Gayatri Spivak, Stuart Hall, Paul Gilgari, who is the author of Atlantic, the Black Atlantic, and James Clifford and others. They have utilized diaspora studies. They are challenging the ways of thinking beyond the confines of the nation state. So though they are the foreign countries, they look at the homeland in a different perspective, and they come out with their own thoughts, with a feeling of nostalgia. Now, yes, this is what I said earlier. According to Vijay Mishra, he has segmented Indian diaspora into two different aspects. One is the old diaspora, old Indian diaspora, and the new Indian diaspora. Old Indian diaspora, which happened before independence, right? We could categorize it as during the colonial period, right? During the colonial period, we have a movement of people leaving their homeland, settling the host land, not because of their willingness. They are not based on their willingness. They were forced, and they left their homeland and settled the host land, not as a guest, but as indentured laborers or the Gangani laborers. It happened, and they were taken to some European countries, British markets, British factories in order to work in the production of sugar, rubber, and tin, so on. And when we move on to the old Indian diaspora could be called as the movement happened before independence, right? And after 60s, in the post-independent era, during the 1960s, from the 1960s, we have new Indian diaspora. But there is a major difference between old Indian diaspora and the new Indian diaspora. Vijay Mishra termed old Indian diaspora as an exclusive diaspora. Why? Because the old Indian diaspora, they could not have any kind of contact with the homeland. Once they left the homeland, it's quite rare and to come back their homeland. They have to live there until their last breath. They lived there, they died there, they died over there. So, according to Vijay Mishra, that's why Vijay Mishra says old Indian diaspora could be termed as an exclusive diaspora. Why? They created a relatively self-contained Little India in the colonies. They created a purpose for making or creating a Little India in the host land. The memories, the feelings, the emotions. They want the imaginary homeland in the host land. So that is the reason behind it to create Little India in the host land. So that is why he says that old Indian diaspora called as exclusive diaspora. But Yeah, I told you earlier the old Indian diaspora could not have any regular contact with the people of homeland. And now move on to the new Indian diaspora. New Indian diaspora, it happened till it happens. They move from homeland and settle the host land based on various reasons, like maybe in search of job or in search of business and so on. Here in Indian new Vijay Mishra says they are linked to business and various kinds of jobs, and more predominantly they have frequent touch with the people of homeland, and they visit India whenever they want, and at least once in a while, or I mean, in a short period of time, they come back to the homeland for the purpose of marriage or family networks, for the purpose of, I mean, many reasons are there to visit their homeland, even after leaving their homeland and settling in the host land. And for example, and another important difference between the old Indian diaspora and new Indian diaspora is, old Indian diaspora people, the diasporic people could not have any kind of clubbing with the people of host land. They were left alone. They supposed to live alone. They were considered, to be precise, they were considered as a slave too. Whereas in India, in the new Indian diaspora, people left the homeland and live in the host land, and they had opportunity of mingle, adopt the society, I mean, adopt to the new society and mingle with the existing situation. So that is the fortunate thing that new Indian diaspora people entertain and enjoy. And next one. So there are many reasons, and major issues in the diasporic people, among the diasporic people, are reasons for the characters to immigrate and how do they text construct. I mean, the diasporic writers who are in the foreign country, they say that here of Canada, UK and US. For example, the diasporic is how the diasporic space is given. They segregate. I mean, the people or the writer or the diasporic people who are in Canada or who are in Europe countries, they can call themselves as here, but the word here cannot be given completely to them. Why? Because they have a double consciousness. They have a double consciousness. While they are in the host land, they have to act according to that. And when they think of their homeland, the word there, so they have to think of their homeland also. That there may be here and there, but there is another space that's called in between and mixing the two. They cannot be here at the same time. Either they cannot be here or there, but they have to be like a cat on the wall, a space in between and mixing the two. Now, memory of home. Memory of home. Indian diasporic people are nostalgic or nostalgia for their villages. I discussed earlier, I told you earlier, they had a feeling of, they had a memory of their homeland, the place, the street, the ground, or the cinema, or the food, or the language, or the culture, or the festival they enjoyed. So once they settle in the host land, the feeling of nostalgia make them to be more have a sense of longingness to return to their homeland. And Indian diasporic people construct the imaginary, that's what I told you, construct the imaginary homelands, creating a little India in the host land. What is the purpose behind it, creating a little India is that to fulfill the gaps of homeland from a distance, because they are far away from the homeland. They have a feeling of homeland, they have a feeling of the people who lived along with them when they are in the homeland. So this kind of thing cannot be had when they are in the host land. In order to bridge the gap, in order to fulfill the feelings, in order to fulfill the gap, they create the imaginary homeland in the host land. And and now then the diasporic people, they carried along with them deep traditions of different customs, practices. See, people from India, let us take India. India, the Indian diasporic people, Indian, and they may belong to West Bengal, they belong to Tamil Nadu, belong to land, they have their own traditions. They carry along with them to the host land. For example, many Hindus who settle in foreign countries, they build temples in the host land. Why? Because in order to carry or in order to establish their religious belief, their practices. See, you can find some temples even in America, even in the United States of America, you have a lot of Hindu temples which resembles the temples which are built in India. So that kind of memory of home, they rectify, they overcome by establishing or they constructing this kind of temples or celebrating a kind of festivals. For example, Raksha Bandhan or people of West Bengal, they celebrate, or people of North India, they celebrate Durga Puja. So this kind of things will be still conducted and celebrated in the host land also. And now move on to cultural identity. So cultural identity and other prominent components in the diasporic, among the diaspora, in the diaspora, among the diasporic people. Identity, according to Stuart Hall, identity is not as transparent or unproblematic as we think. The term cultural identity. See, as far as the term cultural identity is concerned, a person who lives from India, who lives homeland and settled in the United States of any one of the European countries. A person may be from Tamil Nadu, but he settles in a European country, in one of the European countries. When he comes across an Indian, no need to be from the same state he belongs to. For example, he may be from Tamil Nadu, but he happens to come across another diasporic, another person from West Bengal or from Andhra. He immediately had a kind of happiness, kind of emotion. They would start to sharing a culture. Why? Because see, every state in India have their own culture, their own custom, their own belief. But out of that, when we look India as one nation, there is a oneness, there is a common thing among people of India. So that kind of sharing of emotion could be found. So that cultural identity is shared, is found when a person happens to meet another person from India in any of the foreign countries. So that's what Stuart Hall says, the cultural practices and forms of representation have a black subject at the center. It puts the issue of cultural identity in question. Now, and then we have few features and themes. What all the features and themes are there? According to diasporic culture or literature, writer. So the SIP, leaving homeland, settling the homeland, contrast, relation between the center and periphery, and memory. So that's what we had earlier, and often the memory details of, the memory of the childhood, the memory of the enjoyment, the entertainment they had in the homeland, childhood landscape, historical events, and all. And the sense of alienation in new society, culture, land. So what kind of thing? They have left the homeland, settled in the host land. They immediately cannot mingle with the people of the host land. They feel a kind of alienation. They had a feeling of loneliness. So how, on what kind of feeling of alienation or the feeling of loneliness is felt by the diasporic people in the new land or in the new society? And then features of homeland, the languages. See, I may belong to Tamil Nadu. I have a language. Tamil may be my mother tongue. But when I settle in one of the foreign countries or one of the European countries, I may not have the people to share my emotion in my own language, in my own mother tongue. So that kind of feeling or longingness might be a major component, major features for the writers of diasporic writing. And reclamation of history of the homeland, and a lot more are there. Ambivalence between seeking acceptance, assimilation in the new cultures. So this is how a lot more varieties are there, a lot more components are themes, features are there for the writers of diaspora to think about, to write about diasporic people. And to be particular, diaspora, it's a journey. See, leaving homeland and settling in the host land. Travel, how they come, why are they traveling, where are they traveling, how are they traveling. So as far as diaspora is concerned, travel plays a vital role. Traveling plays a vital. Travel is a base for diaspora. So the journey, the travel towards what? The journey towards what? Journey towards self-realization, self-recognition, self-knowledge, and self-definition. And so again, to comprise on the outset, diasporic writers are often preoccupied with elements of nostalgia, collective memory of a lost homeland, childhood, cultural longings. That's what we discussed. And the writers who take it as a prominent component for their writing, maybe writers live on the margin of two countries. So they have, that's what, double consciousness. They have a sense of longingness. They cannot mingle with the host land, and they cannot leave the feelings or the worries or the memories of the homeland. And especially, to be particular, diasporic literature, it all speaks of adjustment. So once you settle in the host land, you have to adjust, you have to adapt, you have to mobile. You should have a sense of mobility with the people who are in the host land and accessibility. So these four major components can be as a prominent thing for diasporic literature when we talk about diasporic literature. Now, and we have lot of diasporic writers since 1734 till the 20th century. There are some Dean Mohammed, Elas Chanderdar, Bankim Chatra Chatterjee, Cyril Dabidin and David Dabidin, Sam Selvan, Vasanji, so on. And now let us have a look at the present Indian diasporic writers. V.S. Naipaul, Salman Rushdie, Bharati Mukherjee, Rohinton Mistry. Rohinton Mistry and Arvind Adigadaya and Bharati Mukherjee and so on. Anjali Joseph, Parameswaran, Jumbalagiri. So these are all major diasporic writers who are who born and who had their origin in India, settled in foreign country, or they may be born in some other countries, so on. Now, I have listed a few works by various writers, various diasporic writers, called House for Mr. Biswas, The Queen of Dreams by Chitra Banerjee, The Rainbow, Pemister Road, Nowhere Man, Brickland, and House of Thousand Doors, The Calcutta Chromosome, Area of Darkness, Mapping, Jasmine, Suitable Boy, Interpret of Maladies, Saraswati Park, Another Country, The Lowland, East West, Homeless by Choice, Middle and Other Stories, The Mimic Man, so on. So these are all a few of the works by various diasporic writers at your disposal have been given. Now, out of these works, a few I have taken to have a little bit elaborate discussion on diasporic elements found in their writings. V.S. Naipaul's House for Mr. Biswas. In his work, and we have the protagonist of the novel, Mr. Biswas. He was born, he got married a girl from Tulsi family, and he struggles to establish his identity. See, he struggles to build a home, to have a home of his own. He conquered the adventures, he owned his expectation, his desire, but what happened in the last? So, V.S. Naipaul wonderfully defined Mr. Biswas. See what he says: to have lived without even attempting to claim one's portion of the earth, to have lived and died as one he has been born. So he lived as if he born as if he has nothing, but born as unnecessary, born as unaccommodated. But when he died, he had a home of his own. So this kind of search for identity has been a major component in the diasporic writings, among the diasporic writers. And in another occasion, it says Mr. V.S. Naipaul is actually a founding father of old diaspora. He says that diaspora is the result of man's choice and inclination towards material gains. Diaspora is the result of man's choice and inclination towards the material gain, professional and business interest. So man has been the main reason for the component, for the diaspora. So diaspora is the result of man's choice. And V.S. Naipaul feels, when you think about diaspora, he feels as an exotic plant that is unable to strike its root deep into the soil in which it has been transplanted. So that's what he firmly believes about diaspora and the diasporic concept. Next, Vikram said, suitable boy. In this novel, it's a novel written by world famous author Vikram said. The novel sets in a newly post-independence and post-partition India. The theme of the story is about a social and financial subject the characters involved in the novel. And there is a Hindu mother searches a suitable son-in-law for her daughter. But it highlights the issues like land rights, interreligious marriages, and identity crisis in section. So how a mother struggles a lot to find a suitable son-in-law to her daughter. What are all the issues occur while she starts searching a son-in-law for her daughter? And another one was Jumba Lagri's Interpreter of Maladies. It's a collection of short stories, as you know very well. It's a collection of short stories written by Jumba Lagri. The author portrays the difficulties Americans and the Indian American are arrested in the middle of two different cultures. So they cannot. That's what I said. Actually, it's a diasporic literature talks about adaptability, mobility, and adjustment. But when we don't have this sense of adaptability and mobility, and we are supposed to arrest among these two cultures, among these two different perspectives. So Indian Americans are arrested in the middle of two different cultures. The primary difference of the story centers on two people who romanticize each other, although in different ways. And Chitra Banerjee's another work called Queen of Dreams. It also talks about a sense of diaspora, and another one, a poem by Vikram Seth. And for a better understanding of diaspora, we have a poem by Vikram Seth. The title of the poem is Rocky. I have projected the entire poem of Vikram Seth. I had forgotten the time of year where Rocky came, showing how things have changed and are the same. It was a contract of trust with more than you. I know. I left my home too many years ago. I placed the golden thread across my wrist to tie it on. See, of the homeland. The Raksha Bandhan is a celebration being celebrated in India and North India, especially now even in South India also. It's a kind of festival celebrated in order to express the love between a brother and a sister. So the thread, Rocky, which is called Rocky, it's a bond between a sister and a brother. It shows the intimacy between these two relationships. So a brother has left the homeland and settled the homeland, and when he receives the Rocky from his sister, right? So he had a sense of nostalgia, and he had a sense of loneliness, and he had a sense of alienation, and how far he worries for the homeland. Rocky for Aradhana, which was written in the year 1980. And to conclude, the diasporic writing explores the memory of homeland. So that is a basic component of diaspora and diasporic writing. It explores the memory of the homeland, which has made them sick to think about returning to the homeland. So as Vijay Misra says that this particular line could be more apt to the old Indian diaspora. Why? Because old Indian diaspora people, they cannot return to their homeland. Once they settle the coastland, or once they are taken to the coastland as indentured labor or Kangani laborers, they cannot come back to the homeland again. But it is not so in the case of new Indian diaspora. New Indian diaspora people have a contact, have a continuous contact with the people of homeland due to the advancement of technology. Maybe the advancement of technology may be the boon to the new Indian diaspora, have a frequent contact with the people of homeland, right? And the representation of India in foreign lands, which has been shaped by the lives of members of a diasporic community, the identities which they hold, and the politics they negotiate. So this is what all about the diasporic writing, what kind of exploration, what kind of theme, and what kind of features can be employed by the diasporic writers when they attempt to write about the nostalgia, the feeling of nostalgia, or the sense of loneliness, sense of alienness, to project the mind of the diasporic people. With this short presentation, I would like to conclude. And before my conclusion, I once again thank Mrs. Leelavati, Head of the Department of English, Don Bosco College, and the authorities of Don Bosco College.
Good afternoon, one and all. First and foremost, I would like to bow down to God for this opportunity and making the event a successful one. Next, I would like to thank the management for the constant support and encouragement to organize this seminar. Especially, I would mention the guidance given by our principal, Reverend Dr. A. Selivamuthu, SDB. Then I would record my sincere thanks to our respected chief guest, Dr. C. Govindaraj, Associate Professor and Head in Charge, Periyar University Extension Center, Dharmapuri, for his profound knowledge, which is evident through this address today. It's my pleasure. Thanks the HOD, other staff members of the department. I thank all the participants who made this webinar a great, successful one. Without mentioning the media technicians, these words of thanks would not be complete. So my special thanks to Mr. Krishnan and Jeevananda for conducting this webinar through Zoom and live, YouTube live. And once again, thank you all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Dear participants, you can post your questions in the chat box, which is available for you. If you have any doubts, you can please clarify. Then we will send the feedback link.
Ma'am, shall I?
Yes, sir. There is no questions. They are raising the hand, but they are not asking the question.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.